Hello, welcome to another Doctor Who collection update where I'll be showing you all the lovely Doctor Who goodies I bought from late March to April. From Blu-rays to Big Finish to CDs to figures. Oh yeah, quite a lot of figures. I bought quite a few because I said in my last collection update that I want to try and complete my figure collection, and hopefully in the next couple of months I'll do an updated figure collection. How very exciting. And I do have some rare figures to show. So yeah, how very exciting. Now this collection update, I'm probably going to be honest, is probably stuff you've already seen on the channel in the form of a review. But I do have some stuff what you haven't seen, and obviously the figures you probably don't know about. But yeah, speaking of plugs, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who watched Book Corner, where I review 3 Doctor Who books, and I've had such a lovely response to that, so I definitely feel like that's got the green light for me to carry on doing some book videos. So I best start buying some books or looking through the bookshelf and going, right, let's review that, because I do have a few books what I would like to review over the next course of this series. I don't know how many episodes there will be. But
so kicking off this collection update, we have the lovely Macra Steelbook and the Doctor Who Collection Season 18. How lovely. So yeah, I have reviewed the Macra, so if you want to know my thoughts on that, then check out that review. I'll leave a link in the description below. I told you that this collection update will be full of those, but yeah. So we have the Doctor Who Collection Season 18, which, when it first came out, I was literally, each day I was, watching something, whether it be a special feature or the actual stories. But as soon as the Macra was released, I just kind of forgot about Season 18, which sounds really bad, and I just haven't gone back to it. I got up to Full Circle, and I just haven't got round to finish watching it, because the thing with these collection box sets is that you naturally feel obliged to go, right, I'll watch it from the beginning, to the end. So you'll watch Leisure Hive to Logopolis, or K9 and Company in this case. Whereas if it's like a DVD, I like to cherry pick going, oh yeah, I fancy watching that story. Whereas I feel naturally obliged to go from start to finish, which is not my usual Doctor Who viewing habit when it comes to watching classic Doctor Who. I just like to go, oh, I fancy a Tom Baker story tonight, or I fancy a John Pertwee story. It's kind of that. With me with classic Doctor Who, so I feel naturally obliged to watch it in order when I get these sets. And obviously Season 10's been announced, which you bet any money I've pre-ordered it. It was probably the fastest pre-order I have ever made, and I'm very excited for that to be released. So let's move on to Big Finish. So kicking off with CDs, we have a non-Big Finish CD, and it is Death Comes to Time, part of the BBC Radio Collection. I believe that this was animated, and you can find it on YouTube if you want to see the animated version. Like Sharda in real time. But yeah, Death Comes to Time. This is quite a bit of a controversial story, because I believe that this was meant to be kind of a bit of an ending for Doctor Who, because, spoiler, the 7th Doctor dies within it, I think. It's not a thing that I've been really sort of looked into, because it's kind of this bit of a Doctor Who oddity, in my opinion. And I saw it for £6, and I thought, you know what, for £6, let's buy it. So that's what I did, and obviously I have, because here it is. So yeah, Death Comes to Time. Speaking of BBC animations, we have Doctor Who Real Time, part of the Big Finish recent sale of the Cybermen sale, because they had a sale on all the Cyberman releases. So I had a little gander, and I saw Real Time for £2.50, and I thought, you know what, for £2.50, let's buy it. So I bought it, and I think it was about £3 with postage, which was very nice. Yeah, again, you can watch this on YouTube, but if you get the CD, you get the lovely behind the scenes and additional scenes as well. So this is kind of the director's cut of this story. And Real Time's been a bit of a story what I've been fascinated by, because obviously we had the release of the 6th Doctor figure from Real Time, and 10 years later I'm finally getting to experience Real Time, and I've listened to the first disc of this, and it's basically, I believe it's a 6-parter, and yeah, it's certainly an interesting story, and it's just quite nice hearing the 6th Doctor and Evelyn. Yeah, so yeah, I'm definitely enjoying listening to. Next up, we have a box set. We have Unit Silenced, which I managed to get for £10 brand new, which I thought was an absolute bargain. Now, the Unit series has just recently had another box set out with River Song, which I haven't bought, and the reviews what I've seen haven't been that great, so I'll probably give that release a pass, because that's the thing with Big Finish. I kind of cherry pick some of the things, like Unit, I kind of cherry pick if the story interests me, then I'll buy it. And this is a release what has interested me for a long time, because I wanted to see how Big Finish do the silence on audio. and I believe that this is a very political series and one of the best from the Unit series. So I'm very much looking forward to giving this one a go. So yeah, Unit Silenced, absolute bargain for £10. So you can't go wrong with that. Next up, we have 2 Torchwood releases, which you've probably seen me do a review on. Which we have the Green Life, which is this month's release, well, April's release of Torchwood, and then we obviously had Night of the Fendal, which I have reviewed, again, a shameless plug, which is a very gruesome story and very adult, so I'll leave a link to my Big Finish playlist. But the Green Life, as you can see, I haven't taken the wrapper off it. I have listened to it, and I have literally started writing my review of it, which will hopefully be the next video I do. I just want to say, what an interesting pair those two, because they're absolute, chalk and cheese, and this story does have quite a few surprises. And the behind the scenes is just wonderful, because it's just basically John Barrowman just in love with Katie Manning. I mean, it's just him gushing, going how wonderful, the Third Doctor era is, and, that's basically me every time I meet Katie Manning. So yeah, Green Life, that's going to be my next Big Finish review, which is very exciting. Speaking of reviews, what I've already done, we have the Chameleon Empire, which is obviously the final story in the Chameleon trilogy, which I loved. It's basically continuity heavy, but it's done very tastefully, because it basically explains why Chameleon was shoved in a cupboard. Yeah, which is very cool, and probably my favourite main range release from the year so far. Going from my favourite main range story to my least favourite so far, which is the Monster of Gokroth, which is the first story in the 7th Doctor and Mags trilogy. Again, I've recently reviewed that, so if you know my full thoughts on why I don't really like this story, then check out that review. So the final 2 Big Finish things I'm going to show you are the 4th Doctor Comic Adaptions Volume 1, containing Iron Legion and the Star Beast. Yeah, I haven't reviewed anything 4th Doctor related from Big Finish this year so far. Series 8 I haven't reviewed because there's just so much to talk about and so many spoilers, and it's just trying to word that review. And the comic adaptions I haven't finished listening to. I've only listened to the Iron Legion, I haven't listened to Star Beast yet, but this box set was quite refreshing after Series 8. I love Series 8, it's one of my favourite 4th Doctor series, but it was just quite nice to have a bit more of a wackier 4th Doctor. It's basically the 4th Doctor has eaten all the blue Smarties, he's just a bit more bonkers, and I quite like that, from a bit more of a, from having a very serious 4th Doctor in Series 8 to have a very sort of, very comical 4th Doctor. It's basically the 4th Doctor madness turned up to like 110%, it's just absolutely crazy, but it's absolutely wonderful. Yeah, so yeah, and if you're a CD collector, I definitely recommend getting this, because it's probably harkens back to the golden days of getting Big Finish on CD, because look at that, 5 CDs there, which is very nice, and it's a very chunky box set, which I would love to review this, because it's just a lovely box set, and it's just really harkens back to the golden days of getting Big Finish on CD, really. And the final Big Finish thing is Ravenous Free. Oh yes, after the very positive review I gave of Ravenous 2, I was quite excited to give this one a listen to, and I've only listened to 2 stories so far, but that's what I mean. I start listening to something and then more Big Finish comes out, like 5 releases at one time, and it's like, oh great, what do I listen to? So yeah, I've only listened to the first 2 stories, Deep Time Frontier and Companion Piece, which I have to say, incredibly strong stuff so far. But I have listened to Half of Legend as well. I've not quite finished it, because it's got basically the Doctor who does meeting the Brothers Grimm, and I've heard the story's not that great, but I'm kind of enjoying it so far. It's definitely the weakest of the box set what I've experienced, but I've still got about 40 minutes to go. But yeah, I would like to review this. Will probably be one of my next reviews I do, because I've reviewed the first 2 stories. Well, I've wrote the first 2 reviews. I've just got to finish listening to the box set, and then we can actually get the review out. But yeah,
so moving on to figures, like I said, I bought quite a few of them because I'm trying to complete my figure collection. So I bought the 2015 B&M sets for £60 in a job lot, so I was like, yeah, why not? Which contained the 11th Doctor, basically the Time of Angel Flesh and Stone set with a very nice Bevered Weeping Angel variant, and the 11th Doctor, which I've probably got many of them, and then a Luke Weeping Angel. So yeah, that's very nice. Probably the set what I wasn't too fussed on getting, but because it's in a job lot, I thought, you know what, let's just get it. And then we have the 10th Doctor set, which contains the Sideman with arm gun, which you can't go wrong, more army building. Then we have another 10th Doctor figure variant, which I probably don't need, but you know what, let's have him. Might as well complete the 10th Doctor figure collection. Then we have a Sarah Jane figure, what I never actually owned. I never got the Sarah Jane and K9, so it's great to have that figure finally.
and have 2 more adipose. So yeah, very nice. And the final set was the 4th Doctor one, containing the Decayed Master from the Deadly Assassin without the sash of Rassilon. So it's great to finally have that, because I could never manage to get the golden sash off. So it's quite nice to have that Master without the sash on, because it's another variant which is quite nice, because obviously the way the B&M figure set started out was basically to get rare figures, or do some updated paint apps on existing figures. So the 4th Doctor within the set, I have to say I really love the updated paint apps. Look absolutely fantastic. It just makes it look, it's more refined, and I think that's a lot better. It's one of the best paint apps I've seen on a 4th Doctor head sculpt. It's just a lot better than the original. I feel like it is a much better one. The scarf's painted a lot better. It's just looks way better in my opinion to the original, which I really love the original, but just having that really good paint app on the face, it's just really good. And the final figure in that set is D84. It's great to have another Vok robot, because they're just really iconic to me, and this obviously has D84 printed on like SV7, so I can change the numbers around on my original D84 to make him a different dumb Vok, and have this as the new D84 on the shelf. So yeah, very nice. So the next figure I'm going to show you is a Dalek, and it is the genetic handprint Dalek with colour changing handprint. I believe that this figure was a Walrus exclusive, or it could have been sort of a figure what was kind of like a running change within the wave. This could have been swapped out for the Mutant Reveal Dalek. I'm not exactly sure, but there's the wave it comes from, the Assault Dalek Auto to Impact. So I do feel like they swapped the Mutant Reveal Dalek out for this one, actually. Captain Jack and the Gelf Zombie. But yeah, really nice. You could argue that this is a very pointless figure, but that's the thing what I love about the RTD era of figures. We basically have a figure from every episode near enough. I think there's only 1 or 2 episodes from RTD where we don't actually have a figure from. But the handprint's quite interesting, because if you can see there, it's basically a sort of a heat sensitive thing. So if you put your finger on there for a few seconds, the handprint will disappear, and when it goes cold, the red hand will appear. So yeah, it's quite nice to have a bit of a pointless Dalek figure what only appeared like literally a split second, but it's nice to have a bit of a variant. It would have been nice if they kind of weathered the Dalek up to look more like the sort of damaged Metaltron version of it. But yeah, really nice to have a big old chunky Dalek, which, this is my childhood, big old chunky Daleks. Perfect for kids because they wouldn't break, and they're very robust. What's quite interesting about this is it was cheaper for me to get it boxed than to buy it loose. It cost me £15 brand new, and I think it was about £26 to get one loose. So I was just like, yeah, let's get it brand new. So yeah, very nice to have him to complete the Dalek thing, because you can never have too many Daleks. And speaking of never too many Daleks, we have the Dalek Ironside with the blackout dome lights. Now, I absolutely love the Ironsides. If you saw my top 10 new series video of Jarkin reviews, then you know I love these. This is one of my favourite Dalek designs, well, one-off Dalek designs, because for me the Daleks are mini tanks, and this literally takes it to the next extreme, because they are literally tanks, and it is absolutely wonderful. I'm so pleased to complete the Ironside collection now, because I've got the T-Tray one and just the standard Ironside, and I cannot wait to open them up, because as soon as I finish filming this I'm going to open these up. So yeah, I think that this is from Wave like 1C or something like that, because Series 5 had so many waves. It's like Wave G or F or whatever, I'm not exactly sure, but that's the wave it's from. Yeah, and I got this for £9.50. So for a tenner, I'm not complaining. Very nice to have him. So let's move on to the rare figures. On to the rare figures. So we have the First Doctor and Saucer Commander black and white version. I don't know if you can see because of the glare, but there they are. Lovely, lovely Bill Hartnell and Saucer Commander Dalek. Yeah, you might be wondering, oh, you've already got these. You've got them out on your shelf. Yeah, that is true. But that's not all. We have one more rare figure to show, and that is the Second Doctor, all nearly up for camera, and black and white Cyberman, which is so nice to have the complete set. Now you might be wondering, hang on, you've got these on your shelf, and that is true. I have them, you know, out of box. But I do have a bit of a rule where I kind of break my own set of rules, where I do kind of double dip on certain things. Like I double dipped on the Time Crash set to have one out on the shelf, one mint in box, and like the Green Jumper Ninth Doctor and, you know, stuff like that, and the 13 Doctor set. If it's something special and a bit unique, then I will try and buy 2 of them. And I've wanted the black and white sets for a long time to get them boxed, because I just think they're a bit of an oddity in the Doctor Who figure line, and obviously this is the 10th anniversary of these figure sets from, well, it's the 10th anniversary of the Forbidden Planet exclusives, and I would love to do a video celebrating that, because without Forbidden Planet and Underground Toys, I doubt we would have as many classic figures as what we do have. So it's just absolutely wonderful seeing this packaging, and it's kind of crazy that people are complaining about the new logo. Well, you just got to look at that. I mean, I don't know if people were, offended by this logo being on the packaging, but I was a kid, so I didn't really care. So yeah, let's talk about these. Now, as you can see, these don't have the San Diego Comic-Con markings from 2009. So that's quite interesting, because I know the 6th Doctor Real Time, the one without the San Diego logo is rarer than the one with the logo. So yeah, it's quite interesting, because I know the San Diego sets were limited to 1,250, but these are a bit of an oddity, because they don't actually have the San Diego logo, even though they were part of the first wave of Forbidden Planet international exclusives. So the prices I paid, you're probably expecting me to have paid hundreds of pounds for these. Well, I actually got this one for £54, which is an absolute bargain, because I think this is the well, this is quite the common one to get, but obviously because it's got a Dalek, it's got more of a price tag really. But yeah, great bargain for £54. And the 2nd Doctor set, I actually got as an Easter present, because one of my family relatives knew I was after the black and white set, and they're like, well, I got you this instead of an Easter egg. I was like, yeah, I'd rather have this over an Easter egg, because I'm not a big chocolate eater, so I'd much rather have the 2nd Doctor black and white set than an Easter egg. So I was very happy to have this, and I think they paid £45 for it, which again, an absolute bargain, because you think they were originally £25, and over 10 years time, of course, these are going to go up in price, because they are an oddity, because they are the only 2 black and white figure sets they did. I think there was a rumoured 3rd Doctor regenerated figure, which I think turned out to be a hoax. Obviously it turned out to be a hoax, and I got really excited having a regenerated 3rd Doctor, but it didn't happen. But yeah, it's just so nice to have these. It's really nice to have these bits of oddities in my collection, because I've been after these for so long, and they just look so brilliant, like that. I'm just so happy to have all these. It's just absolutely wonderful. So thank you very much for watching this collection update. I will try and do a review of these, because I don't think anybody has done a review of them out of the packaging. I'll just give you a close look actually. So here's the 2nd Doctor. I think this is a really odd one, just seeing the Sideman like that. It's just a bit of an odd one for me, seeing that. But yeah, absolutely wonderful. So yeah, I would love to do a proper review of these, because I've only seen reviews of them in the packaging, so I think it'd be quite nice for me to go. Let's have a closer look at the actual figures. So yeah, I can actually show you them in more detail, because they are oddities, like I said. So thank you very much for watching this collection update, and I'll see you in my next video, which will be the Green Life review. So thank you very much, and goodbye.